Hello and welcome to Slow Pit Stop, the international Formula One podcast by fans for fans all around the world. My name's Arafat, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Mohammed. Say hi, Mohammed.
Hello.
Mohammed, what podcast snacks do you have with you today?
Nothing. Actually, that's actually not true. I forgot. I actually have peanut M&Ms. Did I have M&Ms last time? Why did I bring up the M&Ms story last time? Did I have them with me? I don't remember.
So we did talk about M&Ms, but I can't remember how much we talked about on air versus off air versus the insane way that the American Army pays for so much.
Yes.
Because the American Army developed M&Ms as a chocolate that wouldn't melt. And so we did talk about that. And I actually had some M&Ms earlier this week. My daughter picked them out from the shop and we ended up buying them. But a lot of people complain that anytime there's a podcast, all I do is have unhealthy snacks. So today for podcast snacks, I have Aqua Libra, which is sparkling water with cucumber, mint, and lime. No sugar, no sweeteners.
Oh, nice.
And then I have that's not Tupperware.
That's not gulab jamun.
Bowl thing. That's not gulab jamun. It's cherry tomatoes that have been chopped up.
Oh, healthy.
So I'm
very healthy.
A healthy one. Exactly. Do you know what else was healthy? The size of the crowd in Monza, which we'll be discussing today. And we should go next year. Should we go next year? Can we go next year?
I really want to go. I was already looking at tickets. I just don't know where the best place to sit is, but tickets are still available.
I think we should go. It's that thing of, do you want to be near the start-finish straight so that you're there for the podium, versus do you want to be at Parabolica so you can see the amazing speed?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be at turn 1, 2 so that you can see the overtakes?
Exactly. And that's literally what I was thinking of. And I kept looking at the tickets, and Parabolica is so expensive. And then I was like, maybe turn 1, 2 is better. And then I just fell asleep from indecision. So that's where I'm at right now.
Well, speaking of indecisions, lots of people will be making decisions that we want to talk about today. So things we're going to talk about: McLaren's decisions and how they performed in this race. Did they lose it or did Ferrari win it? McLaren's decisions around McLaren's decisions around team rules. Adrian Newey's decision around moving to Aston Martin, which I think is officially due to be announced in 2 days.
Maybe.
Yeah, something like that. And Mercedes' decision to hire Kimi Antonelli as the replacement for Lewis Hamilton, who will be moving to Ferrari. Should we start with Antonelli, since his weekend started before everyone, and his weekend finished before everyone as well?
It's so funny that he crashed immediately. Okay, so him crashing immediately is exactly like Icarus flying too close to the sun. I'll tell you why. Mercedes put him in the car. They did this whole runaround where they, begged and pleaded for Max Verstappen to join. And when he didn't, they're like, okay, we will settle for Kimi Antonelli. I say settle, even though he's supposed to be pegged as this next great prodigy. But instead of having him start slow and steady, they're like, no, we want him to finish this session top of the timesheets to really show the world how good he is. So they make him do qualifying runs, and he does go P1, and then he pushes, and then he puts it in the wall. And Toto Wolff has to go out and say, we have a good problem. We have to make him slower, not faster, which is good. And clearly he's not defined by this one spin in FP1, but it is a hilarious opening drive for who's supposed to be the next
100%.
best thing.
My favorite bit was... my favorite thing of the whole weekend, you'll not guess, and I can't believe, if you'd talked to me in 2016, I would have never said this, but my favorite thing of the whole weekend was that Nico Rosberg was on hand for the coverage.
Yeah.
And just his commentary on the whole thing. And he's so right in what he was saying about how this is all just bad news for George. He has nothing to gain from this and everything to lose, because Mercedes still want Max. And if Kimi is actually very good, then it's George that gets bumped and will lose his seat.
Oh, that's so funny. It's so funny how much Mercedes still wants Max, and how after this year and the fall-off that we've seen with Red Bull, Max may actually jump ship. People don't remember in 2021 or just before, Max was seriously considering leaving Red Bull because the car wasn't there, and Jos Verstappen kept making these statements out there like Red Bull needs to get faster, they need to get better, or we're gonna leave. And that's why at the end of 2021, when he wins on the radio, one of the first things he says is, "I'm going to race with Red Bull for 100 years," or something like that. Like he says something out of happiness, and it's because of
Yeah,
all of
it
that
was a
frustration.
reaction.
Exactly, and it's
Yeah.
it's like the frustration finally bubbling up and all the emotion of it. And I'm going to race with you guys for 100 years. You just won me a championship. Max is very pragmatic. You know, he's a champion. He's going to go to the car that's going to deliver him a championship. He's not going to just stick around with somebody just because he out of loyalty. That's not there for him. So if Red Bull is completely overtaken next year, let's say we start next year, and let's say McLaren is the dominant car, Ferrari is chasing just behind, and Red Bull and Mercedes are off fighting for third and fourth, Max doesn't stay. He doesn't say he's going to leave. He may even go to Mercedes. He may go somewhere else. Who knows? I like the theory that somebody put online that he's going to go to McLaren. I think that's a hilarious one. But
I saw that, and they said the Red Bull lineup would be Lawson and Norris.
Yeah, you saw that? Yeah. So funny. So.
And then where was the other
Mercedes
McLaren? Was George
too.
Russell, wasn't it?
Yeah, Russell wasn't even in Mercedes. It was like Antonelli. I don't remember. It was something weird.
It was Antonelli and Max at Mercedes.
Yeah.
And McLaren was Russell and Piastri.
Oh yeah, and then Norris was at Red Bull. Yeah. Funny how people make people predict. We should also make predictions. But anyway, so I think he jumps ship, and if he does, then yeah, Russell is the weakest of those three drivers, assuming Kimi Antonelli isn't terrible. Okay, how do you rate him? Because we've seen Oscar Piastri. You know, he's also supposed to be, really good. He is pretty good.
Yeah.
How'd you rate him?
So I think it's two things. I think not realistically, like in my opinion, this is the strongest F1 field for a long time that I can even think of. You know, like from the front of the grid to the back of the grid. Like,
yeah.
We give people like Bottas a hard time or whatever, but he's not slow.
No.
He out-qualified Lewis Hamilton a third of the time. Albon in the Williams, Carlos Sainz is going to be the Williams. So I think you've got such high quality that it's very difficult to compare. I saw stuff about, some of these like paid drivers in the 1990s that were like the sons of billionaires and just showed up for a season or two. And obviously when you're comparing people like Senna and Prost to these people, there's a huge gulf between them. But I think the quality of the drivers is so good right now that even just to be in the mix, you must be excellent. So I don't know how I rate Kimi Antonelli because, lots of people come with really, really good junior careers, Piastri, Hülkenberg, all of them, right? So it's a case of, I think, the fact that they rate him so highly means he's probably done enough to earn the seat. But now he has to earn the career, if that makes sense. There's lots of people that are Formula One drivers for a couple of years. And then there's people who are like Nico Hülkenberg, never won, never had a podium. But I think he has repeatedly shown why he deserves a Formula One career.
Is Max Verstappen...
That you can only earn once you're there.
Yeah. Is Max Verstappen the last rookie to truly come in and live up to the hype?
I think it's different because that class that came in, Russell, Albon, Norris, all of them, they came in and I think they're all of good quality. Like often you look at when Lewis Hamilton was there, right? Let's look at the drivers that were on the grid in 2007. This isn't like a thing against Lewis Hamilton. I'm not saying Lewis didn't, he did exceptionally well for a rookie season. But the other drivers that were there, Marcus Wilkenhock, Christian Albon, Sokon Yamamoto, Anthony Davidson, Kazuki Nakajima, Scott Speed, Adrian Sutil, Vitantonio Liuzzi, Takuma Sato, Ralph Schumacher, Jarno Trulli, Alexander Wirtz. These are not drivers, I think, of the same caliber as drivers nowadays. So I think before a rookie used to come in and they were already better than half the field. Whereas I think now, anytime a rookie comes in, if they can keep up with the field, I think that's an achievement.
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, I think so. It's a big ask for Kimi Antonelli, and next year's rookie class is going to be another one with a lot of expectations. Ollie Behrman, Jack Doohan, Kimi Antonelli.
Have you seen the weird videos of him and his like super memory powers?
No. Oh, yeah. Where they're like, what was your pole position or your qualifying lap time, and like from
At
two
this
years ago.
race, and he gets it
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
That's how you know he's
so
like
he's
really smart. All the
a
people
big
I've met
nerd.
at the top
Yeah,
of their fields have always been able to do random stuff like that. I can't.
yeah, big nerd. Yeah, God, I've just been on call all day and all of yesterday, and I'm just like my brain is fried. I have no
Yeah.
idea what's going
Shall we
on
move on
anymore.
to McLaren?
Yeah, did
Yeah.
McLaren lose it or did Ferrari win it?
They definitely lost it. I did another thing where I timed myself to see when do I think Lando loses the lead. This time
Hmm.
he made it to turn 2. Last time it was off the line. So considering that there are 20-ish turns in a race, that means in about one season Lando should hold the lead for an entire lap one. That's my estimation. um,
I don't know what's going on with him. Why does this keep happening? Is
well,
it
so
psychological? Is it mechanical?
I don't know. Maybe it's like circumstance each time. I don't know because right before they started, they were doing the grid walk, and I forgot who it was. Maybe Julian Palmer was like, "Oh yeah, don't tell Lando this, but actually, uh, everyone who starts on pole in Italy tends to lose that position because of the way the
Yeah,
run is
because of the
turn
run
one."
down. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it was just bad luck this time, and he really truly was ready for it. But last time he had a good phase one, of his launch, and then the second half is when Verstappen caught him, or whoever it was that
Mm,
caught him. So I don't know. If it's just something that he needs to work on. All drivers have that one area they need to work on. Right now for Lewis, it's qualifying. We can talk about that later. But everyone has that. The thing for Lando is that it's too essential to him winning the championship. Is that he cannot,
mm.
stick it on pole and then be like, I'm putting it on pole, but I still have work to do tomorrow to catch up. Like, you can't have that mentality. You need to be able to be like, I'm on pole and I'm going to lead from the start and win the race. But I think once he lost it, I don't think he was really ever truly in contention to get it back. There was, of course, the big moment, Oscar overtaking Lando early on, that has put, F1 Twitter, F1 Internet into shambles. I don't know if you've seen it. It's essentially like a civil war in McLaren right now between Oscar fans and Lando fans.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Um, it's very funny to watch as somebody who doesn't care, but I know if it was
Yeah.
Lewis, I'd be
Yeah.
with the pitchfork, like fighting on the front lines. So, but as somebody who doesn't care, it's
Dan,
very
wait,
amusing.
George.
Exactly, yeah. Get canceled for a third time. But with McLaren, it's funny to watch. I think McLaren have put themselves in this situation. If they truly have no team orders, Piastri did nothing wrong. He did nothing
Yeah,
wrong because they've not communicated to him that you need to work together to win the championship for Lando. So why should he work with Lando to win the championship? If that
yeah.
was communicated, if that is part of Papaya rules, which it isn't, then yes, Oscar,
What a
you've
stupid
been
name.
selfish.
This is peak Zach Brown. He's like, I'm going to give something a name. It's all about the marketing. It's all about the style. What a total lack of substance. What are the Papaya rules? I don't know. It just came to me one day. We were having cigars and drinks, and it sounded really cool. Like, what? What is Papaya rules?
Papaya rules
Classic Zach Brown.
ostensibly ostensibly it's just don't fight each other, which is so stupid. Like, you could just say that on the radio, keep it clean. You don't need to. Papaya rules implies that there's some rule. If whoever has the lead after lap 1, we are giving them preferential strategy, right? That was the rule at Mercedes. Papaya
Hmm.
rules implies that there is some order, some sequence, some protocol to follow. It's not, but for them, it's just keep it clean. And I love, you said Nico Rosberg was there. I love that he was there for this race because he really put Zach Brown in
Yeah,
his place. He was like, "Wait, so I need you to tell
100%.
me exactly what is your plan to lose the championship?" And Zach Brown, or I think it was Andrea Stella, one of them. They're like, "Well, we're gonna have the drivers fight. Historically, we've allowed our drivers to fight." He's like, "Yeah, but you come on. You can't allow the drivers to fight. You're gonna lose the championship." I know. I've been in the situation. He even said I used to have to allow Lewis past me, even when he was my direct championship leader, and it felt like hell. I hated to do it, but that was the rules at Mercedes. Whoever led at the end of the first lap got to get the preferential strategy. That's why it was important before in Silverstone for Lewis to make that overtake on George, so he got the preferential strategy. But
Mm.
McLaren will have to fix this if they have any hope of overtaking Verstappen and
Do you
Red Bull.
think they should get Oscar to support Lando this year, yes or no?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Why? I'm going to say no. But I
Okay.
want to hear why you say yeah.
Are you going to just play devil's advocate, or do you truly don't believe he should? I'm just curious.
I truly
Okay.
think they shouldn't.
I've got 2 reasons why. Number 1, seniority. Lando Norris has paid his dues. And if you're going to come in and if you're going to be the hotshot newbie who takes on the seasoned veteran, you can certainly do that. But you need to do so early on enough that the statement has been made. You know, when George Russell came in, he understood the assignment for himself was to show up Lewis Hamilton, but he didn't realize is that Lewis Hamilton's mind was somewhere else. He was focusing on improving the car. Oscar Piastri had the chance to run up the tally on the points and put himself in that position where he is the closest challenger, and he didn't for whatever reason. Lando is that person. That takes me to number 2. You need to win the championship. You can't win the championship if you're in second and you're fighting. Now, if you're first and second, and if it's between Lando and Oscar, then no, I don't think that they need to be fighting each other for the championship. But right now, they need to fight person in first, and there's a real chance it's going to slip away from them because they need to score. Lando needs to score 8 more points than Max every single race. You're assuming that Lando wins every single race with fastest point. So that's a huge ask. So Oscar I think he does need to play the game and help the team win the championship. Why do you not feel that way?
So I think, realistically, the prize money comes from the Constructors' Championship. And Zach Brown, like his whole thing is marketing, right? I think even if they I say just, like it's a small thing, but even if they just win the Constructors' Championship, he will be out there selling it as this huge thing. We beat Red Bull, we are the world champions, we are this and this and this and this, and make it seem like the Drivers' Championship never even existed.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, champions of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he'll sell it like that. Secondly, that's where the prize money comes from. So he doesn't actually care about the Drivers' Championship. Yes, from a marketing perspective, obviously it helps. But I think, people being like, people out here asking Piastri to be Bottas, but the problem is Lando isn't Lewis.
Yeah.
Although Lando technically has more points, I think him and Piastri are pretty closely matched. And I don't think, like you said, it's such a long shot for Lando to win the Drivers' Championship. I think it's not worth taking that long shot and burning Piastri now within the team in terms of his morale and everything, and then to not even get the Drivers' Championship in the end. And
But I don't
imagine
think
Oscar's morale is low. But no, but if his morale is low and all of this, and he's like, right, I can't even fight the drivers, I'm not going to come to that team briefing session, I'm not going to do that extra bit in the gym, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes off the boil a little bit and doesn't qualify as well, or this or that, or whatever. And then suddenly Ferrari have taken the Constructors' Championship.
Well, I don't think that his morale should be low. His morale, it's so close to the end of the season that, like, you have to look at the finish line at this point. And what is his goal? Is Oscar's goal to win the championship? Because it's a taller ask than Lando. Is his goal to win constructors? He can do that by helping Lando. Like, what's his goal? And you look
But
at
I
you're
think
talking
Oscar
about
and
winning.
Lando are thinking about individual races. Oscar's showing up to try and win individual races. And if you take that away from him, then I think he doesn't come 100%.
Yeah, but I don't know, because if
He's
they
like,
don't
yeah,
fight
I'm just
each
going to
other
do
that
nothing
way.
until next year.
Let's say Oscar doesn't overtake
Yeah,
Lando off in turn 1, then maybe they finish 1 and 2 instead of 2 and 3, and that actually helps them more towards the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah.
They need to have rules
No,
in
100%.
place to make it more efficient.
And I know other drivers, I can't remember who I've listened to in the past, where they talked about how they were incentivized. And it was like, if you were going to be first, but you had to give up your position to Schumacher or whatever, the team agreed that they would pay, was it Eddie Irvine? Or I can't remember who it was. There was some driver talking about it, and they were like, the team agreed to still pay me as if I finished in first place.
There's other ways to do it, and I think you can make all these bonus clauses, like if you get P2 in the championship or P3, you get this much money. Like, I think you could still incentivize him to do better. I don't know.
Here's the thing in the mix. Oscar Piastri's manager is Mark Webber, who famously kept being treated as the number 2 driver by Red Bull. And Mark Webber has guided Oscar Piastri very closely. He got him out of Alpine, which now seems like at the time I was like, what are they doing? This is insane. But like now it's like, oh yeah, was such a good decision. And I cannot imagine a world where Mark Webber will have allowed for a situation where Oscar will give up positions for someone else, unless, like, they'll put something in there, like, unless we are mathematically out of the Drivers' Championship, we will not help.
Wow.
Because he's like, Mark Webber will know what it's like to have been screwed over by your teammate and your team.
Yeah.
And, like, they literally took his front wing off him once and gave it to Sebastian Vettel.
Wow.
You know that, like, meme where it's like one kid gets the teddy bear sandwich, and then the other kid gets the bread with the hole in it where the teddy bear came from. That was literally Mark Webber's life for like 4 years.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
And then when they did have team rules to keep Mark ahead, Vettel didn't even follow them. You know, the whole multi-21 thing.
Yeah.
So I think Mark Webber is talking to Piastri and being like, if you accept a number 2 driver role now, you are number 2 for the rest of your life. No one will ever let you fight for a championship.
Hey, that's good. That's a strong point. That's a very
They will
strong
treat you
point.
like Carlos Sainz, and they will send you to Williams when the next big thing comes along.
That's a really strong point. It's hard to argue with that. Mark Webber would not want Oscar to become a second driver, which he shouldn't.
So that's my
Oscar Piastri should not be a number 2 driver. He arguably could be better than Lando if he's, a little bit into his career. So, yeah, okay. That's a good point. So with that said, did their fighting cause McLaren to lose it, or was it their strategy department?
So they argued that we weren't faster anyway because Charles Leclerc was going so much faster than us, we couldn't keep up with that pace. So they were like, Ferrari's race pace was so much better that we, even if we had like stayed out, they would have overtaken us, blah, blah, blah. That's what they say. I think it's a combination of things. Charles Leclerc did very, very, very well because you see Sainz in the same car couldn't maintain that pace on a one-stop strategy. So Charles Leclerc did very, very, very well. And I think McLaren, they lost time early because you look at Piastri, the gap that he was closing at the end. He finished 3 seconds behind or something, but he was like 11 seconds.
Yeah.
And had he had
maybe 5 more laps,
another 3, 4, 5 laps, he would have won. So I think they maybe could have recognized what was going on with Ferrari and reacted quicker. They did lose time fighting each other. That they would have been ahead had they not fought the way they did fight in the beginning, and Lando had stayed in second place as opposed to drop to P3. They would have again been able to control the race pace a bit better, I think.
Yeah, I think it's really rare when you see Ferrari win by strategy, and it makes me feel that it was not truly a win by strategy, but rather the other team dropped the ball. Also, incredibly bad weekend from Red Bull. On top of not having the car to compete, they also had very long pit stop, 6.2 seconds. Verstappen wasn't happy with his strategy as well. Seemed to be a pretty cut and dry 2-stop. But I don't know what else he could have done.
Pace was like 2/10. His qualifying pace was like 2/10 faster than Perez or something. And like there was like Perez needs to be within 3/10 of Verstappen.
Yeah.
Like the goal was to speed up Perez, but all that happened Verstappen slowed down.
I think it's so funny that Perez said, the whole year I've been complaining of these things, and now Max is down at my level. He knows what I'm feeling. It's like he's really using this opportunity to be like, yes, we are the same. Same to same. Me and Max are the same, which is just so funny. It's so...
So good.
Do you buy this brake thing that everybody on Twitter is talking about, that the brake adjuster was taken off and therefore the Red Bull has fallen off? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That like the left and right of the car were braking at different pressures. You could adjust it, but then there was a rule clarification that said the brake on the left and right has to be of equal pressure. And has that screwed over Max Verstappen? I think potentially it's that funny thing of where small things cascade into big things in Formula 1, like the domino effect. But also sometimes you change one small thing and actually there's so much in the system around it that that thing becomes negligible anyway. Like, they were talking about Mercedes zero pod concept, and they were like, it's not like you can just suddenly bolt on big side pods and the rest of the car works, because everything from the nose to the tail has to work in harmony together. I sometimes, like, when I used to go to the Hinsa clinic,
Mm-hmm.
I remember talking to Adam Costanzo, who used to be
Mm-hmm.
Lewis's personal trainer.
Nice.
And he said setting up a car
Mm-hmm.
is like doing a Rubik's Cube,
Huh.
right? And sometimes you put a color in the wrong place and then you just end up going down the wrong route because you're trying to fix that thing
Mm-hmm.
rather than being like, I want to get the colors. He goes, also, you will never get all the colors perfectly lined up. You will never get the perfect car. Everything
Mm-hmm.
is a compromise. So what you're trying to do is have as many colors correct on the Rubik's Cube as possible.
Mm.
And sometimes because you're too busy chasing this one yellow that's on the wrong side, you mess up everything else.
Lewis
And so it's
before
a
the
bit
race
like,
nowadays.
if you're like, if they're chasing this break thing, if they're like, right, we've lost this thing, but we want to like retain that effect, they might be so focused on trying to fix one problem that they're like creating all these other problems without even realizing. Where they would be better off just settling for a compromise. But they've been doing things for a while. Like they had Max Verstappen practicing in like last year's Red Bull or the year before, or something like that, so that he could get a feel of what it used to be like, so that he could have a more direct comparison, so that he could talk about, okay, we need to do this and this and this. So I don't think it's as simple as one thing has changed, therefore the car is not good. I think developing a car and setting up a car is super complicated.
But have Red Bull
And
forgotten how to set up a car? Is that what you're saying? Like, that's the
no,
change?
but I think maybe sometimes what happens is because you've lost something that gave you a lot of gains, to try and compensate for that one thing. You know that whole thing they say, like, perfect is the enemy of good. So they had a perfect setup before. Now they've lost one bit of it, and they're like, right, how do we compensate for this one bit? And rather than having a good balanced car overall, that is, instead of 10 out of 10, it's 9 out of 10, they're so focused on fixing this one bit that they're not thinking about how the rest of it synchronizes and harmonizes with that, and they're creating
Maybe.
6 out of 10 overall instead.
Yeah, maybe. I could see that happening, where they're just chasing to figure it out. Then the next question becomes, do you even try to figure it out this year? Or do you just focus on next year? And you can make an argument either way, because you could say, yes, the championships are at stake. But you could also say, we've done what we can for this year. We have a big enough lead. Let's try to maximize and then just focus on next year. So I don't know.
I think a lot of this thing of focus on next year, I think that only goes true to a certain extent, because if you have problems this year, I don't think you can ignore them and just carry on. When people talk about focusing on next year, I think it's about diverting manpower so that, the potential gains that could be made in a new set of regulations, you make them quicker. So everyone is naturally going to go, do steps A, B, C. You want to try and reach D before everyone else does, so that you're one step ahead. But if you can't work out why you have your problem now and fix it,
that's
then
true.
you
Then
can't
you're
start
not good
going
for
up
next
that ladder
year.
for next year. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of takes us back to Mercedes in the years prior, who felt that they needed to keep developing to catch up. I think it's probably the right move that Lewis has left. I know we all know that Mercedes can develop over a season, so they look better now than perhaps they truly are. But yes, I was very happy to see Ferrari win, because that's where I know Lewis will be. So that takes us back to the beginning. I think that's where we should go meet up next year at the Parabolica, and we'll do a live episode from the stands.
Speaking of where people should be,
Yeah.
It looks very much like Adrian Newey is going to be at Aston Martin. Right move, wrong move. He's going to be paid £30 million
right move
a
for
year,
him.
which is like, yeah.
Right move for him. Wrong move for the sport. For me, for Ferrari. I don't know.
Why for the sport?
I don't know what he's planning to gain from moving to Aston. They clearly have shown that they can make a somewhat fast car, but they haven't shown that they can develop over the course of a season. And that's not something Adrian Newey can necessarily assist them with. He's going to set them up with a good base, and it's up to the rest of their engineers to develop and compete with the other cars. So, I mean, they have, what's his name already, who's Adrian Newey's second in command?
Fallows.
Yes, Dan Fallows. And Dan Fallows is good enough to put together a fast car. We've seen it. We've seen them competing. They were on equitable with Mercedes maybe in the beginning of the year, but I don't know if that was a move I would have done. I think if I were him, I would have want to return Ferrari to a championship, and I think I would have gone to Ferrari. I think there's a lot more buzz with Ferrari right now. People have been waiting for Ferrari to come back. And I think this would have been it for him. I think it would have been all the marbles coming in the right place.
I think we want him at Ferrari.
But what does he
because
get
Lewis
at
is going
Aston? Is he gonna win a championship with Aston? Honestly,
what team has he not won a championship?
fair enough. I don't know enough of his career to comment on that. Has he won championships everywhere he's been?
Yeah, he won with Williams. He won with let's look up his career.
With Ferrari, and he won with Red Bull.
With McLaren. So he's not done Ferrari, but he did Red Bull.
Never mind.
Let's see. You should have known that. Formula One career. Williams, he won a championship. So he first started at Leighton, didn't win there. Went to Williams, he won. Went to McLaren, he won. Went to Red Bull, he won. So he's won everywhere that he's been. He's won across different seasons and with different engine manufacturers. He's won with Renault, he's won with Mercedes, he's won with Renault again, then Honda. So number of championships he's won, 14.
Wow.
And I think his strength is big picture stuff. And I was reading an interview by another engineer who said, he'll come in and he'll say, we'll be talking about a problem. And he'll say, oh, but you need to fix this. And we're like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. And this is the thing I was talking about Red Bull, where it's like, we're not talking about that. We need to fix this thing. And Adrian will go, yeah, but if you fix this, then downstream this will happen, then this will happen, then that will happen.
Think big
and then
picture
that thing you're trying to fix will fix.
But I think big picture Aston Martin has it covered. I think Dan Fallows has given them a good base.
You look at the Valkyrie, things Adrian knew he wants to do. He wants to make a lot of money. They're giving him £30 million. He wants to build road cars, and Aston Martin have let him build a road car before, and they'll continue to let him build road cars. They have a very top-heavy engineering structure. That means he doesn't have to do the stuff he doesn't want to because there's some very senior engineers there. But he can come in for the more creative problem-solving side of things, like a consultant that he wants, and be able to leave and not have the stress. So he can work as much or little as he wants. I think for him it makes a lot of sense. I think he will help that team win races. I think winning a championship is a different thing. But
let's see how it goes, I guess.
He will bring success to Aston Martin.
How
far down the line, how much time that takes is a different question.
Yeah. Let's see.
It won't happen straight away.
Let's see what he can do. It's quite exciting. It's quite distressing because I wanted him really badly to go to Ferrari, but I made peace with the fact that he wasn't going.
I think Fred is great. I'm like pro team Fred Vasseur.
I think Lewis will jive really well with them. I think Charles will make another good driver, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah.
We've got the other race this weekend, Azerbaijan, Baku. That'll be exciting. Kevin Magnussen will not be racing. He has been banned.
Shame.
Can I ask you this? If we go back to the 2020 Haas lineup of Roman Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen, which one did you think would get banned first, K-Mag or Roman Grosjean?
Well, Roman Grosjean has already had a race ban.
Did he actually get banned? I thought people were saying that no one's been banned from penalty points.
So no one has been banned on this new penalty point system. Whereas Roman Grosjean once just did so badly. Yeah, so he got banned as a just straight up punishment. They went, you are bad, you are banned from the next race. Whereas Kevin Magnussen has been banned from the next race on a technicality of accumulating points on the license system. So Kevin's the first ever person to accumulate 12 points and be banned from a race. Whereas Roma was just given it as a straight up, you deserve this.
That's so funny. That's just like so classic 2020 Haas right there. Like both those cars were so blind, driving into everything. Oh my god! Like people always think about Grosjean in the wall with the fire and rising out of it. They never remember that he basically like dive bombed into the wall on his own because he didn't see Daniel Kvyat like at all. So
yeah,
hilarious. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us on our episode. It was a short one this time. We'll see you guys after the race. We're going to be doing another episode, hopefully with a game show, some rankings, some other fun stuff. And we'll catch you all then.
See you later.
Bye.